So Mick Jagger is the latest celebrity to come under fire for not being political enough, because recently he made comments that basically we need to stay out of politics. Your job is to entertain people, because Bruce Springsteen's out there constantly being political and it's turning people off. So he takes a completely rational approach of that's not our job. Our job is to entertain you. And like Dwayne Johnson before him, he is now going to be in trouble from the far leftists in Hollywood and the music industry, because how dare he say something that makes sense. So hey guys, this is me, Geeky Sparkles. Hello. And we're not having Kneon for this video because he is busy somewhere else. So it is CLOWNFISH TV sans Kneon. But I'm also supposed to remind you, because he's not here to do so, that if you would like more of us, you can go out to more.clownsfishtv.com, where we have exclusive videos and some extra footage and things that we don't find over here. We have to make some new ones. There's also CLOWNFISH TV podcast. Basically, it's at a place where podcasts are. We are likely there, so you can listen to us that way as well. So yeah, Mick Jagger stepped in it. Honestly, he's right. But, you know, everybody who's completely politically pickled 24/7 are mad because he said something that most of us want to hear. He says nobody comes to a concert to hear a political lecture. Amen. They also don't want to watch a movie for a political lecture. They also don't want to watch TV shows for a political lecture. They don't want to watch cartoons for a political lecture. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have, you know, some political leanings or things in entertainment. It's just that it cannot be the constant focus. And that is what Hollywood has been learning. They have effed around and found out, you know, everything's coming down like crazy. Shows, late night shows that are political, our audience is, you know, gone. Movies aren't doing so well, especially when you have people making changes, like political type changes based on swaps and things like that. Then they have the people involved in the shows and films going out and telling the audience they're all terrible. You have that music industry. We have this going on. It's just people aren't going to listen to you, even if they agree with you. The constant bombardment of political messaging will make them roll their eyes. If people even get a whiff of something potentially being a lecture, they won't go. And we're not talking just, oh, the alt-right Yahtzees. We're talking everyone. Every normal person, who I think is about 80% of the voters, are like, and just people in general, or somewhere in the middle. And you have to remember too, globally, you keep blaming the incels and that for things failing, but globally it didn't win either. So that means that people who don't even have the same politics as us didn't agree with you. And apparently they're alt-right Trump supporters as well. So we're going to talk about this. This one, I was on Thought Catalog. Kneon pulled these up for me, so I haven't really looked at them too much. I knew about this interesting development, though. So he said his job is to give fans 2 hours to forget their mortgages and the problems in the world. He compares a Rolling Stones show to a sports event where everything else gets shouted out. Nobody's thinking about anything but who wins. So he's been asked what he thought. Okay. He said fans should get to forget their problems and problems of the world. That's what the case he made in the New York Times podcast on Saturday, after he was asked what the audience means to him and brought up Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen, who is constantly, I'm going to do a concert against Trump. He's like the, Mark Hamill of music at this point in time. He's just ridiculous. He said, I don't want to lecture them. He isn't allergic to politics and music. He says he'll write a song about a personal relationship or slip a political verse in because no one wants to hear a whole song about politics. That's just it. Same with he always was like, Star Trek was always political. Star Wars was always political. Doctor Who was always political. No one's saying they weren't. The difference was they at least tried to give you a story with a message in it, the pill and the ice cream. And instead, you're trying to give them an enema the size of, their head with no lube up the ass because you want to make sure they get the message. Now it's all about the message, and it's not even about even having the nuance of entertainment. No one wants to hear it. If they want to listen to a constant bombardment of being lectured at, they'll just go hang out on Blue Sky or go to a couple of local college campuses and wear MAGA hats and see what happens. I mean, that's all they're going to do because it's so ridiculous. They're talking, Springsteen has gone another way in his Land of Hope and Dreams American tour, calling Trump's administration reckless and treasonous and releasing a song about King Trump and his federal thugs after the death of anti-ICE protesters Renee Good and Alex Pretty. But there were some things about that if you look into it. So, okay. Trump answered on Truth Social calling the singer a dried up prune and telling his supporters to boycott the tour. I mean, that point, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's like a prune calling a prune, because you guys are both old. Just so in case you didn't know. Um, and they talked about how he's made his own records. Jagger's made stuff he said and done. He said he's trying to drag us back to the Stone Age about Louisiana governor. He's not saying he has never said anything. He's just saying he's trying to stay out of it because that happened in 2024. And this reminds me of the whole Dwayne Johnson fiasco, where he basically said his job is to entertain. His job is to make art. He wants to create. He doesn't want to. He doesn't. It doesn't matter who he votes for. He doesn't need to tell you. And that took George Takei and Will Wheaton, and they're just like having a meltdown. So I can't wait to see what they have to say about Mick Jagger having a meltdown because he didn't use his platform to do what they want him to do with it. My next comment is, if you still had a platform, Will, you could do whatever you want with it that you wanted to. And your idea of doing something with it is taking a picture of yourself flipping off Trump Tower. I don't know what to tell you. It's go build a bigger platform, and then you can do what you want with yours. But you can't demand that everybody else do what you want with their platform. That isn't how this works. So there's another article here he has pulled up about the Hollywood in toto. Why Mick Jagger never let go full Bruce Springsteen, which that's funny. Don't ever go full Bruce Springsteen. They're saying the Rolling Stones legend hasn't expressed any hot takes about Tucker Carlson, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, or Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and chances are he never will. That's for the better. Honestly, his audience skews older anyway, and we just don't care. Like, we grew up at a time, and I'm not even that old, don't get me wrong, I'm nowhere near that old. But, a lot of these people up until, I'd say, late millennial, early Gen Z, grew up in a time frame where people voted for who they wanted to vote for. You didn't know and you didn't ask, and it didn't matter. Like, it wasn't your business. You didn't have to advertise. You said, I voted, but you didn't have to advertise who and what you voted for. Didn't matter. Did you vote? Okay, cool. Back to work. Back to let's hanging out. Unless you wanted people to know who you voted for, you didn't have to tell them. It wasn't like wearing it as a badge of honor. It wasn't this divisive, politically pickled cultist mentality. It was just, hey, I voted. Okay, cool. And you didn't have to agree with their friends. A lot of my friends leaned one way and I leaned another, and that was fine. My family leaned one way and I leaned another, and that was fine. It very rarely was like, I'm going to disown my family because you didn't vote the way I wanted. This insanity is a relatively new thing. So anybody who was, born before what would be considered late millennial now is probably of the mindset of, I don't care. You vote for who you want to, and I don't need to know. And that's how his audience is going to be. They don't give two shits. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of old people lately that have been going out protesting stuff. I think they're getting paid to do it, though. I mean, who knows? But I know, we saw people protesting the No King's Day or whatever in a town nearby, and it was, I'd say, 90% old people, like really old people. I'm surprised no one broke a hip trying to get up where they're putting their chairs. And so I guess some people do care about it, but most of us don't. Most of us were paying expensive tickets to go see a concert or a movie or whatever. We're going because we want to have fun and be entertained. We want to forget that when we go home, healthcare in the United States sucks, and we have all these bills and they suck, and inflation sucks, and data centers suck, and all that shit. You're not going to want to think about it for that little bit of time. You want to have some fun and some happiness, and if it's Rolling Stones, you want to remember what it was like before everything was constantly monitored. But anyway, I digress. So they're talking about his New York Times interview, and he said he won't divulge despite the unwritten pressures of his celebrity class. And then they said about Dwayne Johnson as well. Jagger doesn't care. He'll never go full Bruce Springsteen, apparently. If he hasn't done so by 82, he likely never will. Gosh, go get it at 82, dude. He talked about his musings. He said it's not his job to lecture, which we talked about. Bruce Springsteen, New York Times, Bruce Springsteen clearly sees his job as engaging in a meaningful back and forth. I haven't seen a meaningful back and forth. I've seen him just preaching at people and telling them that Trump's an idiot, and if you agree, you're wrong. I'm not really seeing where he's having a meaningful back and forth in New York Times. Mick Jagger, my job in the live music world is for those people who want to come and have a best time. That is what it is, It doesn't matter. That's somebody else brought up here. He said, the New York Times reporter called what Springsteen has done in recent years a meaningful back and forth with his audience wrong. He isn't having conversations with the audience. He isn't debating them or answering their questions for a lecture for a multimillionaire who doesn't have all the facts at his disposal, and that's on him. Yeah, he gets up there and he does not sit there and, hey, let's have a discussion. He sings songs and then screams about Trump the whole time. And he's assuming that since you're there, you're on the same side as him. So it's not going to change any minds. It's literally just an echo chamber. At that point, why bother? I don't understand it. But I'm waiting for Bill Wheaton and George Takei and all those people to like suddenly come down on, the Rolling Stones and Mick Jagger, because they won't get up on stage when you spent all this money to go see them to lecture you for hours on Trump. So what do you think? Do you think the people should just shut up about the politics on either side? Do you think the people should just go back to entertaining for the sake of entertainment? Do you think that other celebrities have a right to bully each other because you didn't do what they wanted you to do? Please comment and let us know, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.